Tonight, I speak with Jay Situated, a YouTuber and content creator from Buffalo State University. I first got to interview him during the World Telegram News Radio during our Community Spotlight section, where we got to talk about a lot of different issues, including racism, the internet, content creation, and more.
I would just say a lot of these ideas that I have, it comes to me. My motivation, I would say, for it would be my mom, you know what I'm saying, as I said, not to be biased or anything, but, you know, people in the black community, they want to, you know, do good for their mom and move their mom out the hood and things of that nature. So, yeah, I would say that's my motivation. Just in anything you do, rather it be, you know, video creating, music videos, or, you know, just artists in general. You know, if you don't have haters, you're not doing it right, you know what I'm saying? So that would be my advice to anybody that want to create content and things of that nature, or even music videos per se.
We'll get to continue that conversation with more context and analysis next on The Core Idea.
Live on 91.3 FM WBNY Buffalo. From the World Telegram News, this is The Core Idea with Edvardi Jackson.
Good afternoon. With the World Telegram News, I'm Edvardi Jackson. We'll get to that interview in just a few minutes, but first, the headlines. The former president of the Philippines, Rodrigo Duterte, is appearing at the International Court of Justice today after he was arrested on Tuesday upon arriving in Manila. He's facing charges for crimes against humanity after it's alleged that he oversaw mass killings and rapes against drug users and others. The Senate is expected to vote on a continuing resolution bill to avert a government shutdown before its deadline tonight at midnight. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is expected to vote in favor, but other party members say he's bowing to Elon Musk, the head of Doge. Senator Bernie Sanders is among the vocal Democrats against the bill, and House Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez called Senator Schumer's decision a tremendous mistake. President Trump says recent conversations with President Putin about a proposed ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine were good and productive as the U.S. resumed sending aid and intelligence to Ukraine after a pause stemming from a heated conversation 3 weeks ago at the White House. However, Putin added demands of his own, which Ukraine's President Zelensky believes was a sign that Ukraine didn't want a ceasefire. Zelensky added, quote, Putin cannot end his war because that would leave him with nothing, end quote, in a series of posts to X. Ukraine has accepted the U.S. proposed ceasefire deal earlier this week, but Russia has not as of yet. Now from the WTN News Fast Check Weather Center, right now 69 degrees and partly cloudy. Sunset tonight at 7:20 p.m. where we hit 64 degrees, going down to the mid to early 50s as we get into the overnight and early morning hours. Winds tonight are southeast between 5 to 10 miles per hour, becoming south 10 to 15 and gusts up to 30. Tomorrow, partly sunny in the morning, then mostly cloudy with a chance of showers in the afternoon. Warm with highs in the upper 60s. Tomorrow night, mostly cloudy. There's a chance of showers tomorrow night, going into the overnight hours with 40 to 80% chance of rain. We'll have more next after this break with this interview. Welcome back. This is the Core Idea Live. This is in place of today's planned World Telegram News Radio. In the studio today, I have Jay Situated in here with me today. How are you doing today?
Doing good on yourself. Nice weather we're having.
I know. I'm actually surprised. For once, we're not covered in snow or rain.
Yeah, so it's not under, you know, frosty weather-like conditions, you know what I'm saying? And it's March 14th.
Yeah.
Mind you, like, you don't get this type of weather on March 14th.
It's Pi Day. I'm side note. I just realized that. We'll get to the interview in a second. But fun thing about Pi Day, a few years ago, I think 2019, I won my school's Pi Day championship. I've never lived that down. I think that's like the moment where I peaked in like middle school / high school. Is like I can recite 20 numbers of pi. What can you do? I don't know. It's some snobbery. But I wanted to sit you down for this interview because there were a lot of things that we talked about in the last one, specifically when you talked about racism and the idea of content creation. Tell me about, first of all, what you do for those who weren't there for that last episode.
So I'm a YouTuber. I'm a content creator. You know what I'm saying? I also shoot music videos and do things in the videography field. Lately, to gain some extra income on the side, I've been going to like different events, helping people record. Actually, tomorrow, because I'm really into wrestling and stuff like that. I've been like ever since I was a kid. I'm actually recording for this independent promotion, Niagara Falls. And we're gonna see how that goes tomorrow. So that's just a little bit about me.
When it comes to, I guess, doing video and stuff like that, is there ever a moment where you think this is a bit much? Because last time we talked, you talked about doing music. What was the shift between doing music and doing video?
It wasn't like a dramatic shift, I would say, because like I said, by me doing music, it allowed me to have the equipment I need to start doing YouTube. And by me doing YouTube, it allowed me to gain the skills that I need to, do music videos. So I would say that.
I remember I actually did YouTube at one point. We don't talk about that old. Well, actually, it wasn't too bad. A lot of the older channels, I think maybe you've had the same experience. A lot of the older channels I found like one from like 2015. Oh boy,
that's another thing. Well, I like to tell people I started YouTube at least like 2 years ago, going on 2 years ago in like September. But realistically, I've been doing YouTube since like 2017. I have like probably some other cringy videos on the internet somewhere that I don't like to talk about and I don't claim. But I've been like into YouTube, like posting for like a very long time, but taking it seriously and actually like, putting good effort into it and actually like quality production, 2 years I would say.
Like, what kind of, so you've always wanted to do YouTube, would you say?
Yeah, it was one of them things where, I always had it on the back of my mind. When I was younger, I used to post gaming videos, so I used to screen from my PlayStation and post them type of videos, and that's kind of how I was known in middle school. Me and this other person who I will not name by name, and it's crazy because we used to beef about this. We used to, go back and forth about who had the most subscribers, who had better videos, and it was also other stuff that I won't talk about that led to us like falling out. Mind you, we was good friends and stuff like that. But yeah, it was one of them things I was known for. Then, as I got into high school, I guess that kind of like got pushed away, and I wanted to get more into music. But after I realized that, like I said, the music production thing wasn't necessarily for me at that time. Even I might get back into it, you just never know. But as of right now, I'm in the creative spaces of like creating content and stuff like that, and that's just where my headspace falls.
I mean, I completely understand that. When it comes to like my whole background with YouTube, I had seen a lot of YouTubers, specifically like people in Minecraft. So it was Stampy Longnose, and I was into this really niche video game / anime franchise called Inazuma 11, and that was my hyperfixation from I think the age of 7, even until now. For a lot of it, I kind of fell out of Minecraft YouTube after the whole Dream thing came along.
Yeah.
I don't know. One thing I want to ask you about is, how do you feel about the entire, one YouTuber called it the Mr. Beastification of YouTube. So that's loud titles, loud thumbnails, loud energy. It's, I slept in a coffin for 20 years or, something ridiculous.
You gotta do whatever you do to catch the audience's attention. Sometimes I clickbait a lot of my videos. So say for instance, I post a video. I might, if something happens. So, all right, I'll give you an example. So it was a Wegmans video I did, right? And it wasn't in the video, but it actually did happen. But it wasn't caught on video. Where after the whole Wegmans video, because we was doing a prank, and the cops put up on us. That didn't get caught on camera, but I exaggerate. The cops pulled over us. That's going to catch people's attention because, especially nowadays, people like that type of drama. You know what I'm saying? People more drawn to drama. So, like I said, it all depends on what catches the audience eye.
Would you say that, like, you have to play? How much do you... let me rephrase that. Is there, like, what's the line between kind of doing clickbait and doing blatant clickbait? Because, like, I know that the YouTube system, you kind of have to game the system in order to win. Mm-hmm. But, like, is there a line for you where you're like, this is too far, or...
I mean, the only thing I would say is too far if it involves someone death related, like saying, "Oh, this person died," or like playing with death and those type of violence scenarios. You know what I'm saying? That's when I was like saying, that's too far. That's something you shouldn't even attempt to clickbait about. But other than that, I can't really think of any limits because at the end of the day, content is content.
That's what makes, I guess, YouTube so interesting because you can talk to different people. Like when I was doing YouTube, and even now when it comes to like posting for the news and stuff, I always kind of came at things from a academic angle, first, with lack of a better word, than an entertainment angle. Like even back then, it was documentaries, it was overviews, it was a very like a research heavy side of things. I remember during our last conversation, you had mentioned wanting to do something like, speaking to the community, covering racism and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Would you be comfortable with doing like that amount of research, or would you be doing something more akin to like a reflection video?
I'm down to do whatever, especially when it comes to them type of topics. I actually did do a video where I pretty much covered about the whole top showing things about me, my experience, my mom being there, everything like that. But it's definitely like once I gain more of a fan base, I definitely will like do more videos speaking up against racism. Because like I said, I mean, if you look at public figures nowadays, you don't really have too many people that talks about this type of stuff. So I feel like by me doing that, I'll be on one of the ones that stick out of the whole bunch. You know what I'm saying? I also want to point this out. So within the past month, I became an e-board member of Cut the Cam. Now you might be wondering what Cut the Cam is. It is an organization that bringing content creators, people into fashion, just different type of creative people, rather it's fashion, music, or on YouTube, whatever it might be. It's just like bringing people together. And I became an e-board member and stuff like that. And one of the things we talk about in one of our e-board meetings is the possibility of giving back to the community, because that's something we all collectively have a interest in doing, because from my own individual experiences and stuff like that. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to doing once we raise funds and things of that nature. So shout out to every Cut the Cam member. I appreciate them for letting me join. And yeah.
Let me ask you about Cut the Cam. So that's something that if you go on your Instagram, you have a very I would say sizable involvement in. Tell me about that, because I've actually considered joining. And I guess the one thing that I've felt, and I don't know if other people have felt the same way, is if you're a content creator, what does that entail? Does that include something like news? Does that include music? Tell me about that.
Well, as far as Cut the Cam is concerned, it's different creative people. So yeah, it could be news, it could be music, it could be if you just post TikToks, anything that's creative. Even if you draw art, you could join Cut the Cam. It's just different. It's an organization to bring different creative people together in one setting for us to collaborate instead of separating. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's like the main agenda for Cut the Cam, as far as I'm concerned.
One thing that I think that's admirable about this, and I do want to acknowledge that any opinions I say during this program are not the opinions of the World Telegram News or Cure Media. An issue I see with a lot of media outlets, and you could kind of correct me if I'm wrong, if you disagree. I kind of see that when it comes to Black-owned media networks, we don't actually own any major sizable network operation. Mm-hmm. Even BET, Black Entertainment Television, it's owned by Viacom, and you can look up who Viacom's CEO is. I mean, like, what's your angle on that?
This about to get real deep. So what I would say about that, I feel like it comes down to people in the Caucasian community wanting to control everything. You know what I'm saying? There's been a thing ever since slavery. You had this. Matter of fact, I'm gonna use this as a perfect example. So you know how like during slavery, right? You had the field Negro, and then you had the house Negro. The field Negro is the one who, get the scraps and everything. They have to do all the work and stuff like that. But the house Negro, he does anything to satisfy the master. Right. And I feel like in the entertainment industry, that's what you see a lot of, because you have these, white people who control everything and control mass media. And then you have the certain Black people that, suck up to them, take that for wherever you, want to take it for. so they could get more profit, and so they could feel as though they're more than people that's probably in a field Negro type of atmosphere. You get the elaboration I'm trying to portray?
Yeah, I understand. So do you think that Hollywood, or I guess the larger media landscape, they're trying to become someone they're not?
A lot of them, yes. And like I said, I feel like because of that, that's how that's why you have white people controlling certain black entertainers and stuff like that, using them as pawns. Yeah. Because first of all, black history and black influence is black. Just history in general, you know what I'm saying? You go way back to ancient times. And this is one of the things that pisses me off a little bit. You even talk about the Egyptians. They're obviously black. But you let a white person tell it they're Caucasian. But even if you just look at the hieroglyphs, you see dark-skinned men and women being depicted.
About Kanye.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Kanye West. Kanye West is I guess he's Ye now. He's a very divisive figure. Mm-hmm. A lot of people say, especially when it comes to that, I think it was a Hurricane Katrina video, where he's like, George Bush doesn't care about black people. Or now where he's going on these rants. Technically, he's being, I guess, true to himself in how he feels. Do you think that's too much of an extreme?
So, in America, we do have freedom of speech, but also with that freedom of speech, if it harms anyone or makes anybody feel less than, I feel like that's where it becomes a problem. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Kanye, I love his music, but some of the stuff he says, I can't support, you know what I'm saying? As much as I love Kanye, I just feel like some things have to be kept to yourself. Like, I understand the fact that, you being true to yourself, showing that, you're not afraid to speak what's on your mind. I understand the aspect, because I am one who says what's on my mind. A lot of people consider me to be cocky, but I feel like a lot of people confuse cockiness with confidence.
Right.
But in Kanye's case, when he goes off on these rants, I feel like it's a little bit too much sometimes, because it probably harms people and makes people feel less than, especially when, goes into the whole thing about the Jews and stuff like that.
My question is, do you think that anyone in the media landscape could be truly independent? Because it feels as though, like, in this current landscape, it's left or right. You can't have this middle ground point of view. And if you don't stand for anything, you're somehow complicit.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of celebrities, like, when they first come out, they try not to sell out, you know what I'm saying? But over time, that tends to be the case, especially when they go to, like, a lot of these parties. And I heard, like, when it comes to the entertainment industry, it's all about who you know and who you connect with. And I feel like over time, certain people connect with the wrong people. And, with that being said, their brain gets reconstructed into thinking and saying certain things that they probably wouldn't have said before. And, yeah, that would be my answer to that question.
Connections are important, but what do you do about figures like Weinstein and Diddy? How do you feel about that?
Well, first of all, I just want to say it's horrible what they did. You know what I'm saying? I don't appreciate, first of all, definitely when it comes to, I'm not trying to sideline, the rape accusation and stuff like that, but specifically for me, definitely when it comes to domestic violence, I don't condone anybody who does those type of things, because growing up, that's something I've experienced, you know what I'm saying, with my mom, unfortunately. So to me personally, and I really hate the fact that I can't cuss right now, but it is what it is. Any male who put their hands on a female, to them, they are sorry. They're a sucker. You know what I'm saying? That's just something you shouldn't be doing, because, regardless of what society might tell you, men are made to protect women. You know what I'm saying? Men tend to be normally stronger than women. Not to say that women aren't strong. Women are just as strong as men, but men tend to be a little bit more stronger, especially like when it comes to like masculinity and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I feel as though men shouldn't feel as though they had the authority to put their hands on females, let alone take advantage of them and do all these horrific things that you've seen Diddy do, and Weinstein, and who else? What's that? Dan Schneider. You ever heard about him? Dan
Schneider.
He's another one. All these different Nickelodeon stars that you think have it all. They live in this, their best life. You know what I'm saying? That they end up in these situations because people always feel like they're unstoppable. You know what I'm saying? But and the Bible says sometimes what's in the dirt shall come to light. And as you've seen lately, a lot of stuff that was kept in the dark for so long has been coming to light.
What do you think should change in Hollywood? Should there be safeguards? Because, like you said, a lot of people really do need to get into these fields, and they're gonna have to do certain things to get those, do certain favors. Do you think there should be rules against this? Do you think there should be like some sort of a code of conduct?
Well, I will say this, at least from what I've been like seeing lately, Hollywood is changing just based off on all these things coming out. So I feel like by all this stuff coming out, now that's out there, people have more of a consciousness to it. You know what I'm saying? They know that these type of stuff could happen. So because I feel like people are more aware and will move differently because now that it's out there. You know what I'm saying? I read into a lot of conspiracy theories. I'm not saying I believe most of them, but it do be a lot of sketchy stuff. And if you just look at the time and how things transpire, it could definitely have you scratching your head a little bit. I'll give you a perfect example. So, do you know somebody by the name of Aaliyah by any chance?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so the thing about Aaliyah, everybody knows she used to date R. Kelly, and the thing about that is apparently they got married when she was like 15, which is crazy in its own right. R. Kelly's another weirdo that we didn't really talk about. So as she's starting her career and stuff like that, Jay-Z, because Jay-Z and R. Kelly, I guess they was cool, whatever. And so apparently Jay-Z was trying to shoot his shot, but apparently his shot was getting shot down. And then so all of a sudden, not too long after that, is when she died. She got on a plane. First of all, she got on a helicopter that she didn't even want to get onto. And then it's already been put out there that something was probably slipped in her drink, make her unconsciousness, and then make her sick. And, she died in a helicopter crash. Literally right after that is when Beyonce went up here. Now, don't get me wrong. I was raised on Beyonce, but I just feel like sketchy stuff like that can happen. You know what I'm saying? But now that we're on that topic, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, of course.
So my question to you, so when these public figures, get accusations of doing these horrific things, do you think it's possible for you to separate, for example, I'll give you an example. Do you think it's possible for you to separate R. Kelly the singer from R. Kelly the person, or do you think that's just their whole entire character? Like, if he doing all this, you shouldn't listen to his music, or same thing with Diddy or Jay-Z. How you feel about that?
That's a complete interesting. That's interesting. There's two answers. There's the news anchor answer and there's the personal answer. And the news anchor answer is usually everything's alleged until they're convicted. So whenever I talk about someone like Diddy, it's always allegedly. Whenever I talk about someone like, I guess Jay-Z, who, to my recent knowledge, the case was dropped against Jay-Z.
Yeah.
It's alleged. And for situations like what happened with Jay-Z, where the case was dropped, it kind of protects us. If, this guy is a billionaire, he could sue us into oblivion. And also, it's just not right to accuse someone of something they didn't do if they're found not guilty. The personal answer to the question of separating art from the artist is yes and no. It depends on the art and whether or not it's that good for me to continue supporting it. And usually you could support or enjoy a certain work in a way that doesn't support the original creator. And that sounds a little wrong. But for example, I wouldn't be mad if I, for example, got into some sort of a controversy, God forbid, about me saying or doing something that I shouldn't have been doing. I made a conscious choice to make that decision. And the market responds to demand and supply.
It's kind of hard to say this, knowing what he did, but at the same time, music is music at the end of the day. And if I like the music, I'm going to listen to it. Now, that leads me to my example. Michael Jackson is alleged that, he did things with the kid from Home Alone and stuff like that. Now, me personally, I don't care what nobody say. Michael Jackson ain't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know there's reports saying that he did, but from what I've read, and that's the thing, a lot of people, they don't do their research on this type of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I feel like when it comes, like, when these accusations happen, you have to do your research on it instead of just going off what you might see on TikTok and stuff like that. You need to get your own background information. Let me finish this up real quick. So, yeah, it's alleged that Michael Jackson, he did something with the kid from Home Alone, but even the kid, I don't know what his name is. You probably do, maybe.
Yeah, Culkin.
Yeah, him.
Yeah.
He even came out and said his mother was paid to lie about Michael Jackson. You want to know why?
Why?
They didn't want a black man, because regardless if he bleached his skin or not, Michael Jackson is still black. They didn't want a black man holding that much power in the music industry. And that goes back to the first question about the white people wanting to control everything. You know what I'm saying? Michael Jackson, he owned a lot of the Beatles catalog. You know what I'm saying? He basically owned half of Sony, which means like if you was under the Sony catalog, because Sony's like a big company, and there's a lot of record labels that's into Sony. So let's say Eminem dropped, for example. He getting paid for that. Matter of fact, he did make a move where he did that purposely. Because Eminem, you know, when he first came out, he used to do songs where he made fun of a lot of celebrities, and Michael Jackson just happened to be one of them in one of his songs. Personally, I think the song is funny, but if I was Michael Jackson, I would do the same thing, especially if I had the power to do so.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just imagine, like, you don't even got to say nothing. Oh, I can move this right here. It's kind of like playing chess in a way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I could just move this piece right here, bow. Now, all your income got to come to me. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
I want to ask you two things. The first one was about doing your research, because one thing that I do want to say is when you do a lot of research on some of these things, though, you got to be careful about going into this territory of increasing radicalization of certain opinions or views. How do you manage to do research without getting into the conspiracy theory part of it? Because a lot of things that makes people not want to question things is the idea that if I question things, I'm going to look like Alex Jones with my tinfoil hat.
My thing with that is, like I said, if you check your sources. Now, me personally, if you have multiple people saying the same exact thing, it tends to be more true. But regardless if it's kept in the dark or not, so if I'm looking at all these different sources and they kind of saying the same thing, more than likely, I feel like that's a story you should probably lean towards. Not in most cases, not all, but in most cases, I'll say that.
So the second question I actually had after that was, you described doing business in the media industry as doing chess.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say 5, 10, 20 years, you're a CEO of a media company. What would that look like?
So me personally, I like to do, as you know, contrary to popular beliefs about me, you know what I'm saying? I like to do things that's ethical, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, a lot of people try to claim, you know, I'm overly cocky, but like I said, a lot of people confuse cockiness with confidence. It's two different things, you know what I'm saying? But I would go for whatever is ethical, you know what I'm saying? So let's say I did own like a mass media company, you know what I'm saying, and someone slandered me. At the end of the day, you know, people gonna talk, you know what I'm saying? That's just like, they talked about Jesus, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to get to religion and stuff like that, but, you know, if you know about the story about Jesus, he was hung on the cross and stuff like that, he died for the sin, stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Right. So if they talk about Jesus and he supposedly he was the son of God, what makes you think as a human you're any different? And that's just how I look at things. At the end of the day, people gonna talk, you know what I'm saying? No matter, you could be the best person in the world, it's still gonna be something bad that's said bad about you, you know what I'm saying? So
when we come back from break, we'll talk more about this topic. Plus, I want to actually ask about some of your ideas of what's happening in the world today and how media and social media could use to rectify that. So we'll be right back. The time is 4:49. Once again, with the World Telegram News, I'm Edvardi Jackson. Here's some headlines before we go back to the interview. The former president of the Philippines, Rodrigo Duterte, is appearing at the International Court of Justice today after he was arrested on Tuesday upon arriving in Manila. He is facing charges for crimes against humanity after it's alleged that he oversaw mass killings and rapes against drug users and others. The Senate is expected to vote on a continuing resolution bill to avert a government shutdown before its deadline tonight at midnight. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is expected to vote in favor, but other party members say he's bowing to Doge head Elon Musk. Senator Bernie Sanders is among the vocal Democrats against the bill, and House Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez called Senator Schumer's decision a tremendous mistake. And President Trump says recent conversations with President Putin about a proposed ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine were good and productive as the U.S. resumed sending aid and intelligence to Ukraine after a pause stemming from a heated conversation 3 weeks ago at the White House. However, Putin added demands of his own, which Ukraine's President Zelensky believes was a sign that Putin didn't want a ceasefire. Zelensky added, quote, Putin cannot exit this war because that would leave him with nothing, end quote, in a series of posts to X. Ukraine accepted the U.S. proposed ceasefire deal earlier this week, but Russia has not as of yet. From the World Telegram News Fast Track Weather Center, right now, 69 degrees and partly cloudy. Sunset tonight at 7:20, where we hit 64 degrees, going down into the mid to early 50s as we get into the overnight and early morning hours. Winds tonight are southeast between 5 and 10 miles per hour, becoming south 10 to 15 and gusts up to 30. Tomorrow, partly sunny in the morning, mostly cloudy with a chance of showers in the afternoon, warm with highs in the upper 60s. Tomorrow night, mostly cloudy, and there's a chance of showers tomorrow night going into the overnight hours with a 40 to 80% chance of rain. The time is 4:53, and I'm still in the studio with Jay Situated. Earlier in the show, I talked about my experience peaking in middle school by winning Pi Day. You have an experience of your own. Tell me about that.
My peak moment in high school, I would say it's probably winning prom king. Know what I'm saying? During that time, it was a lot going on. I already told you about the whole me and my mom, the type of situation and stuff like that. So from like the end of 2022 to like 2023, going to the beginning of 2024, I was kind of like in a depression state. You know what I'm saying? So by me winning, it was kind of a way of me knowing that, you know, still people that genuinely care about me and stuff like that. But a funny story I actually want to tell about that is the fact that while I was, you know, going around telling people to vote for me and stuff like that, you know, once I'm involved in something, I'm going to go above and beyond. So I was putting up posters in the school and stuff like that with a QR code because I like to think innovatively. You know what I'm saying? I don't think nobody would have thought to put a QR code on a prom king poster.
Right.
But, you know, I was the first to do it. I guess you could call me Soldier Boy. Anyways, so I had did that. I put these posters on the wall, and the day before prom, I'm getting my hair cut. I had mad people texting me, calling me, telling me somebody ripped down your poster, this, that, and the third. And it was this other dude that ripped down my posters. And the fact, I couldn't even do anything because let's just say he was swinging on the other end of the fence. So, yeah, let me put it that way. So, me doing anything to him, it's a bad look on me either way. So I just had to, you know, it is what it is. But it's like, what did I do to make you that mad? Like, I don't even bother nobody, you know what I'm saying? Like, for the most part, if you talk to, like, all my friends or people that know me, they would tell you I'm genuinely a nice person and stuff. You know, I have a nice heart and stuff like that. So I just don't understand, like, what did I do to make him that mad? Like, I would just run. And the thing about it, I didn't even think I was going to win. I thought somebody else was going to win. I just happened to win. I wasn't even taking that seriously for it. It was like, even if I didn't win, it is what it was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that. It was none to it, but, you know, I won prom king. That was an peak moment. In my prom outfit, it was tough. Like I said, I take a lot of inspiration from Michael Jackson, stuff like that. So I had on like a white suit jacket. I had a Michael Jackson glove and stuff.
Right.
And I had a king crown. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed my prom for sure.
So I guess tell me about how you kind of navigate having detractors. For example, one thing that you noted in our last interview when it came to your advice to younger people that want to do YouTube or want to do content creation is to not give a care, and that if you don't have haters, you're doing it wrong. Can you elaborate on that? Because, I mean, some people might hear that and they're like, that sounds easy in theory, but I really worked hard on this, 20, 30-minute video, In the Bible, it says it's a time for everything. You know what I'm saying? Your time might not be right now, but your time might be coming. You know what I'm saying? And I say this a lot of times when I talk to people about God and stuff like that. It's never going to come exactly when you want it. It's just not. I can't explain why it's not, but it just don't happen that way for whatever reason it might be. But it's always going to come on time. You got to wait your turn. Everybody have their turn. Yeah, like I said, regardless, anybody going to talk to you. So, talk about you. So I just feel like as a person, you got to grow some thick skin. Some people could do it, some people can't. But I just say, like, for me personally, you just got to, at the end of the day, some people that talk about you, you don't even know them for real. So why do you even care about their opinion in the first place? You know what I'm saying? And like I said, anything that you do, you're always going to have somebody that's going to hate you. You're always going to have somebody that's trying to
down you, but you know what it is? Because it's because they jealous. It's because they want what you had. You know what I'm saying? You up here, they down here. You know what I'm saying?
One conversation that we had off air, what I thought was interesting, I wanted to follow up on, was the interaction between black people and the interaction between people in supporting their own businesses. And one thing that I think we both could agree on is I kind of feel as though whenever you're trying to elevate, and unfortunately I think it's prevalent within my black peers more so it is than with my peers of other races, which is the idea that if you're trying to elevate, if you're trying to do better for yourself, you're somehow moving Hollywood, or you think that you're doing better than them or something. Kind of run me through how you feel about that.
So that's something I do with like a lot, and it's been something that's been going on ever since I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? People always think because I talk different or because I use bigger words when I was younger, I thought that I was better than them and stuff like that. And I feel like in the black community, we just gotta get out of that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta support your own. We done came a long way, and by being divided, by talking about each other and stuff like that, bringing each other down instead of bringing each other up, you're literally giving a white man what he wants. That is just simple as that. And I feel like we even have to realize that against like across different cultures and stuff like that, because regardless of how you may look at it, when it comes to Puerto Ricans, Haitians, Jamaicans, African Americans, we're all the same. It's just about what island you got migrated to. That's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? But regardless, we had the same origin story. So I just feel like that's just something that we had to grow out of and stuff like that. So whenever I get the courage to speak, because eventually I do want to do stuff like public speaking and talking about stuff like this. It's crazy because I actually had a conversation while I was in one of these Cut the Can meetings.
Right.
And I said something along the lines of, do y'all think I could be the next Martin Luther King? And for that reason, they thought I was joking, but I was being so serious. Like, they started laughing and stuff like that. But like I said, I don't take stuff like this personally.
Yeah.
You know, it's just fuel for me to go harder.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, if I had my mindset, I could be the next Martin Luther King. But even in that, you know what I'm saying? Why would I want to be the next Martin Luther King? When I could be the one and only Jay situated.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I probably can't cover everything he did in his legacy, but I could cover my own legacy.
Exactly.
By speaking up against stuff like that.
I think an important thing that we should have, though, is somebody, like you said, like a modern-day Martin Luther King or a modern-day role model, especially for, I can't speak for women, so I won't, but for black boys, I remember I grew up with some kids who, some of them were really promising people. I remember at one point we were doing news together before I even wanted to do this. That's how far back we ran. And I look at their lives now, and they're just miserable because they never had anybody, could be male or female, to say to them, listen, I understand your situation because we've been together through thick and thin. Someone to say, listen, you've had these circumstances, but these circumstances don't have to dictate who you are. Right. I think you're like a success story out of that because for example, the top shooting. Mm-hmm. And what happened, and the thought of losing your mom, that must have haunted you, I'm sure. Yeah,
and just elaborate on it a little bit. I could have went to totally different path. And, I just thank God I'm very blessed, you know what I'm saying? Because it's that whole year, that happened, you know what I'm saying? I was talking to somebody at that specific time, and that person fell out, you know what I'm saying? Me and my uncle used to get into about different things that happened, like when I was more younger and stuff like that I won't get into. I didn't grow up with my father, but I met my father when I was like 14. In that period of time, me and him was having our issues and stuff. Like, so just imagine like you had all this stuff on your mind. You know what I'm saying? And you had to, I don't know why I do this, but I still like to, put a smile on people's face, make other people laugh, even though I know I'm going through it. That's just how I've always been. I don't know why. That's just the way it is. And, it's gotten to a point now where I know how to balance it. You know what I'm saying? Right. But I could have, but like I said, you just can't be feeling sorry for yourself. You got to put the effort to wanting to make yourself happy and wanting to make yourself prosper in whatever it is that you want to do, instead of just feeling sorry for yourself.
What would be your what was there like therapy involved that kind of like how did you kind of regulate yourself
during these time periods?
Yeah,
praying. This is why I'm so like into God right now, because when I can't make this up. When you start praying, certain things will fall in line. I'll give you a perfect example. It was one particular instance where I was working at Burger King. Burger King was my first job, and I only worked there for like 3 months because me personally, I can't do fast food. It just ain't for me. I would never do another fast food restaurant again. So I stopped working at Burger King. I was trying to figure out like how I was gonna pay my phone bill and stuff like that. And I just started praying, and it just so happened to be this interview that was happening at Tops, but it was like the one on Maple. It's like on their university station. And so something told me to go there for whatever reason. Mind you, it's at least like an hour away, but I still went. And so I still went there, went through the whole interview and stuff like that. And it was like this paper. And it had like a checklist of all the different tops and stuff like that. And so I checked the one on Jefferson. And it just so happened that one of the people that was there, they recognized somebody that worked for Tops that I know, that's in my family. And then that helped me get employed, you know what I'm saying? And it's been way more instances like that where, something goes wrong, but it happens right on time when I need it the most. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I would just say, like, in that period of time, when I was going through stuff, I would just say getting close to God, praying, but you can't just do it, like, one-off, you know what I'm saying? You got to actually, like, put effort into it. Read the Bible every so now and then. Pray. And when you pray, just don't do it for yourself. You know what I'm saying? You got to pray for other people as well. God don't work like that. That's just how it is.
So the time is 5:07. We have to get off the air soon, but I want to ask you a few questions. First question, President Trump, the rolling back of the Equal Opportunity Act and other things. What's your emotion?
My thing about that is we fought so hard to get free. First of all, because, rather you want to realize it or not, we're far from being free. You know what I'm saying? It's still certain restrictions against blacks, certain diversities against blacks, certain segregations against blacks. It's just not, promoted as much, but it doesn't change the fact that it still happens. But regardless, it's still very unfortunate that we work so hard to get where we at now. And then all of a sudden, all these rights getting taken away. And it shouldn't be. And I don't understand how is stuff like that not getting checked by Congress and stuff like that. And it's something else that's kind of pissing me off. This whole political situation is with Elon Musk. I don't understand how someone who has never had political experience in his life has so much political power now. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about Trump administration, and it's very clear, and I don't understand why people can notice this while they were voting, is the fact that Trump does things that only benefit the rich. Trump has been rich mostly his whole life. I don't ever remember hearing anything about Trump being poor, so he can't relate to things that goes on in the black community, Haitian community, Puerto Rican communities. He can't relate to us because he never had our shared experiences. Versus maybe Kamala Harris, I'm not saying she would have been a perfect president, you know what I'm saying, but she would have been able to relate to us a little bit more and know the needs of the black man, black woman, all these other races. And the thing about Elon Musk, like I said, it just seems like Trump is only doing things to benefit the rich. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand why Elon Musk has as much power. He just shouldn't.
And with that, I want to leave this episode with a quote from Steve Jobs, which is the idea that companies should be run on ideas and not hierarchy. This is The Core Idea with Kier Media. I'm Edvardi Jackson.
And I'm Jay Situate. Appreciate you for having me.
Have a great afternoon.